Hello everyone, and thanks for tuning into the Financial Investor channel. My name is Brent, and today we're going to go over my decision to sell Apple, where I sold Apple, and what I am currently doing as far as am I invested in any specific stocks? Am I waiting to buy back into Apple at a different price? Am I buying other stocks up with that equity or that cash that I have available? So we're going to be covering that in today's video. So if you are brand new to the channel, hit that subscribe button below. I go over the stock market, dividends, entrepreneurship, and real estate. So if you're interested in any of those topics, definitely hit that subscribe button. If you do enjoy the video, hit that thumbs up. If you have any comments, questions at all, drop them in the comment section. I have been discussing selling Apple for quite a while over on my Facebook page, so let's go ahead and get into it. So kind of sharing my screen here, I have been wanting to sell Apple for a little bit of time because it did make up about 25-30% of my total portfolio in a single stock allocation. Plus I hold it in my ETFs, my funds with my 401k, my thrift savings plan, and the S&P 500 fund VU. So I wanted to kind of diversify a little bit. At the same time, I wanted to take profits on Apple because last time I held Apple until $233, and then I watched it plunge from $233 all the way down to, I believe, about $140, $150 before it started recovering back to its present day. So I kind of have been deciding whether I wanted to take profits, sell some of my positions off around 187, 188, but Apple was able to break through that resistance just within the last few months here. And I made the decision on Wednesday, the 24th of April, 2019, to I set a limit, sell at $208, and I just let it go about it staying here, and I just sort of executed it. And if it sold it at 208, I would be out. I would just kind of brush off my hands because I felt there was a lot of resistance going on at that 207, 208 point. Back in the past, that's where it fell to and had some support, and it had resistance, and it couldn't break over that 207, 208 point, and then it fell into the 190s and then continued to fall from then on all the way down. And we're seeing a lot of companies go with future guidance, lowering future guidance. Triple M lowered future guidance, and their expectancy as far as production and revenue for the future is starting to slow down. Apple, when I'm looking at Apple here in the current price at $208, I think it's fairly valued at this current price. I'm not saying it's overvalued or undervalued, but I don't believe they have a lot of room to really move up higher at this point. All of their news covering their streaming services, going over their new hardware. They're not going to be releasing anything new besides I saw like an article come out here recently where they're going to be updating the camera on the next iteration, and that is not something. I'm still using an iPhone 6, so I have my iPhone 6 here on my desk. I haven't updated it in several years. I'm not planning to update it until iPhone rolls out a device that is worth updating for. So here over on the screen here, I have my sell order. So I placed this early in the morning. I was in a meeting, I believe, at the time, so I just want to set it and forget it. So I said, okay, if Apple hits back at that $208 price, I'm going to go ahead and sell it. So I set my limit sell. I had 45 shares, complete shares and some change, and I set it for 45 shares at a limit price of $208, and it went out, and I don't know what time it actually cleared at, but I set it, and I just kind of posted it. Hey, I'm going to be setting Apple to sell at $208, and I kind of went over their expectancy as far as earnings. Their revenue may beat revenue. It may not beat revenue. Their earnings should play out beating or meeting expectations because of all the buybacks that they've been doing. But kind of going forward into the future, I don't believe that Apple has that much room to grow here in the short term. So here is Apple, the actual, I don't know if I posted my sell price. So here is where I actually ended up selling. So I had a couple different positions here. I had 30 positions that I started back on February 12, 2018. I had 30 shares there, bought at $162.43. Here we can see that the equity gain from these positions, a little over $1,300. That was an increase there of 27.86%. Now, I took profits back sometime around October, November. I sold out of 15 shares of Apple at $212. This is back way in the past. I don't have a screenshot of this right now, but I sold out at $212 because I felt Apple had some room to fall. So I sold out at $212 with 15 shares. I waited and I bought back in at $207 and some change there, 15 more shares. Now I held these 15 shares all the way down into the negative, into that 160s, 150 range where Apple was trading at back in November, December. And now all of these have completely recovered here. You can see that the gain on these is very slight. This actually ended up selling at 208, so this puts it a slightly higher increase than what it is actually showing here at a 0.18. And here is my actual execution. So I sold out 208 shares of $9,300. So my total profit, I even had these miscellaneous dividends that had been reinvested. So every quarter on, 2, 5, 8, and 11th month of the year, Apple goes through earnings, plus they have an ex-dividend date, and then they pay out the following week a dividend based off however many shares and their quarterly payout. So I was able to get paid out $98.90 from dividends within the last year or so that I've held this stock. Now they're going to be going ex-dividend on May 11th. So I am planning on actually buying back into Apple. I wanted to see how Apple plays out with earnings. I do not believe Apple will move higher with earnings here next week. I believe that they're going to beat they're going to beat revenue, they're going to beat earnings per share, but they don't have anything that is new and fresh that is going to be able to pump them higher. Streaming services is already played in. They came out talking about their streaming services. They made a huge event, how they're going to have Oprah and a bunch of other names on there. Nothing that was really targeted towards millennial individuals. If you're going to have this streaming service, who are the age demographic that you want to focus, that you want to focus your content towards, because they're, millennials, anyone aged from anywhere 18 to about 40, I would say, is you want to create content to target towards that group. The individuals that I saw that Apple had partnered with in order to create content, to me, didn't feel that they really captured the attention and the content that would actually attract those specific individuals. Disney did a really good job of having a whole archive of past Disney movies. And, if there's adults between 18 and 40, they all have children. Most of them have children out there. And they're going to be releasing a whole lot of content out there with their streaming services. Plus, they're going to be able to create additional content on top of that. Apple doesn't have any, past content. They don't have an archive of just content that they're able to pull out. They have to create brand new stuff. So right off the bat, they're already, several steps behind what Disney's streaming service is going to be able to come out. If Disney tries to underprice them or come out at a similar price, you're still not getting that similar value for a streaming service from Apple, from Disney. So their streaming aspect, while I believe it's good for Apple that they've kind of diversified, creating different revenue streams, I don't believe it's going to be enough to really push them forward to get any higher. Also, hardware. Their iPhone sales, their tablets, their MacBooks, that hasn't really changed over the last several years. They've improved camera, they've added a camera, they've increased the size, but beyond that, the speed, the RAM, you're not able to upgrade it. The camera, it's very generic and basic. They've continued to have the notch in there, which drives everyone crazy. They took away your headset. Actually, I have a headset on mine, so I can have speakers and headset plugged into mine if I want to listen to music. Mostly I just listen to Bluetooth, but they've done a lot of things that have not really improved their devices. They've actually kind of, separated and kind of created a little bit of a wedge there between what people want and, what they're kind of giving them. So hardware with their iPhone devices, I don't believe that's going to help them push themselves any forward. Their services, their applications, and that I've read somewhere, I don't have it anywhere available, that it's actually been on the decline as of recently. if we're going into sort of a down market and going into the future, we're not seeing a whole lot of growth within the services, then you're going to start to see that they're not going to be making a whole lot of money because they make 30% of the app purchases. The apps, whenever you buy an app or you buy an in-app purchase, then Apple collects a 30% royalty from that. So I believe kind of going forward, they don't really have a whole lot going for them, and the streaming services is not very strong, and their services kind of going forward, it'll probably grow. It will have some growth, but it's not going to be enough that's going to be a game changer. And their hardware, it's nullified until about 2020, when then they'll start doing their 5G rollout, and then we'll begin to see, okay, Apple is going to be going back and hitting that all-time high of $233 and some change. And I will continue to hold Apple. I'm still holding Apple in my Roth IRA, my wife's Roth IRA over on M1 Finance. I am still going to be buying back into Apple. Right now, I don't have any plans for the cash. It's currently sitting in cash. Apple has had a bit of a pullback. Okay, so here's the sort of screenshot here that I kind of wrote up for it. So here is Apple 2018, all through their progression. I held Apple. I bought it back in February during the initial February dip. I continue to hold it all the way to its highs of $233 and some change, and I rode that train down. You know, I took it and I held it, and I held it all the way down till December 2000 and into 2019. I did buy back more shares as it was going down. Actually, yeah, I sold off and then I rebought it, and now it came back up. I've recovered. You know, I didn't have very many losses there. I was pretty much positive all the way down and all the way back up. But now I'm getting to a good fair value point where I don't see a whole lot of upside to Apple. Again, I kind of wrote it out. I felt there's about a 75% chance of more of a downside versus an upside in the short term. And I decided to take profits, and I would consider revisiting buying Apple if it fell below $195 and $201. If it can fall somewhere in that range, I'll be definitely buying back, in chunks, because that's quite a discount there in the 195 range. Not so much in the 201. That's a $7 per share discount. But I mean, if it falls down lower and lower and then it drops on earnings, I'll probably buy back into the stock, because now I'm lowering my unit cost. Overall, I'm increasing my unit cost from 162 to now 202. So going forward, I'll have that unit cost price of whatever I buy here in the $200 range, but I would have already locked in 1,000 and some profits. So I kind of went over the cons. So what does Apple currently have that will cause it to move higher or lower in the current earnings upcoming? So Pro, they have their streaming services. I already talked about that. Not too much. It's kind of like an new lines of products. They're going to be coming out with another iteration of their Bluetooth headsets, the AirBuds. Not AirBuds. I don't know if they're called AirBuds, but I do not own a pair. Now the cons: iPhone sales have slowed. iPhone hardware upgrades, besides the camera and the size, they haven't done with it. Slower revenue growth. Their revenue growth is because of their hardware has been slowing down, has also slowed down. So I believe we may see a little bit of a decrease, year-over-year revenue increase. We may actually see that. And we saw Triple M and a couple others get hammered because of that. We've seen App Store decline. And in 2019, Apple is already up 31.57% year to date. That's what they're up year to date when I was thinking of selling this position. And this stock just needed to exhale, just let go, take a breather. You've gone from $160, $170 all the way up now to $208. And I believe it hit that high of $208 and some change. Now, if we go to Google here and take a look at Apple stock, we can see that Apple is now down at $205.28, down in the after hours. They're down about 0.05%. And we can see here it's going to be opening around $205.17 tomorrow. We can see a bit of a sell-off here. The highest point that I can kind of just see here visually on Google is here at $208.18. So we can see the 52-week high. Okay, that's still showing the other high here of $233.47. So that is basically my whole little video covering why I decided to take profits. I took profits of Apple. So these are my profits, actually. I know I did another screenshot there somewhere. Maybe not. I know I posted it somewhere, so I may have posted it in the comment section that I took profits. Okay, so I locked in profits of $1,371.98. That is all profits. I can now take that, wait a little bit if I believe Apple has a 75% chance of dropping down into that $195, $201 range, and then I can take all my original equity, all my profits, buy back in prior to them going ex-dividend. It's gonna be as if I never sold them. I'm gonna have more than 45 shares because I will be able to put in more equity back into the shares at a lower cost. Then I'm gonna be able to take advantage of their increased dividend. They were paying out, what was it, 73 cents per share. They're gonna be paying out 79 cents per share, I believe, in the upcoming announcement. So that's going to be able to increase my dividends just by buying back more shares. I'm going to get paid out $33 and some change for dividends, plus they're going to be increasing their dividend by a little bit, which will increase my initial dividend payout by an X amount as well. So I'll try and cover that in an upcoming video. But I wanted to create this video kind of going over my thoughts on Apple, why I decided to sell it. I posted it all over here on Facebook, so if you guys do follow me on Facebook, it's there and out there that I made these adjustments, why I made these adjustments, my kind of thinking behind making my thought process. Apple was my largest position. I'm still holding about $1,000 over my wife's Roth IRA and then across the other indexes and such. But that is basically it for today's video. So again, if you guys did enjoy the video, find it helpful, hit that thumbs up. If you guys agree with me at selling at $108, let me know in the comment section below. Are you still holding on to Apple? What are your thoughts going into earnings? What are your estimations? Do you predict that Apple will continue bursting to 215, or do you feel it falling to 195? I think if they knock it out of the park, they come up with a spin that, they'll have to really spin it to get it going. But I believe the highest point for Apple is looking about 215, and their lowest point for Apple, if they were to fall, is about 195. Those are my estimates. So that is it. Thank you all for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button if you are not yet subscribed, and that is it. Thank you all for tuning in. I will see you next time. Have a great day. Bye.